Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Did You Know? I'm your host, Booker G. Today we're talking about the 1991 movie The Commitments, based on the 1987 novel of the same name and part of the Barrystown trilogy written by Irish author Roddy Doyle and directed by the legend himself, Alan Parker. It follows Jimmy Rabbit, an unemployed entrepreneur from the north side of Dublin. Desperate to become famous and appear on the Terry Wogan show, he embarks on a plan to start not just a band, but the hardest working band in the world. With his two friends who are currently in an uninspiring wedding band, he places an ad in the local newspaper, Hot Press, looking for people with soul. Differences. Like most movie adaptations, there are many differences between the book and the movie. Some of the main differences are with Jimmy Rabbit himself. In the movie, he's unemployed, but actually in the novel, he works in the same store as Deco. And it was a Christmas dinner dance where Jimmy hears Deco singing for the first time, not the Quirk wedding. For the movie, I think it makes more sense for Jimmy to be unemployed, as it's one of the main reasons why he needs to set up the band in the first place. And Deco is actually part of the Commitments before the ad in Hot Press magazine even gets published. Now, in the book, there's a few months between the time the band forms and their first rehearsals, and it wasn't Mustang Sally they first practiced, but What Becomes of the Broken Hearted. And during the first gig, there wasn't any Wilson Pickett songs, and Derek didn't even get electrocuted. In the epilogue to the film, you can see Bernie singing in a band called the Brassers. Funny enough, in the book's closing chapters, this is the band that Jimmy forms with Derek and Ice Band after the Commitments have split up. Filming locations. Alan Parker and his team spent 5 weeks scouting locations and rehearsing with the cast, and totally used 44 locations throughout the city. The scene outside the hotel where Wilson Pickett was supposedly staying was filmed outside the Mansion House, which is officially the residence of the Lord Mayor of Dublin. The scene where the horse is waiting for the elevator was actually inspired by a real experience Alan Parker had while scouting locations in Ballymun. He saw the heads of two ponies peering over the balcony of one of the high rises, and he had no idea how they had even gotten up there in the first place. Other than the interior set for the Rabbit family home, every other scene in the film was shot at real locations. Casting. Legendary blues singer Rob Strong was asked to audition for the film by the producer, but instead he brought his then 16-year-old son Andrew along, who landed the role of Deco. Alan Parker originally wanted Van Morrison for the role of Joey the Lips Fagan, but he turned it down, and it went to stage actor Johnny Murphy, surprisingly one of the only two cast members, along with Brona Gallagher, with no music experience before making the movie. By now, we all know Andrea Corr plays Jimmy's little sister Sharon, and Jim Corr is part of the avant-garde Clue band during the skate rink scenes. But did you know that Caroline Corr appears in the audience during the performance of I Never Loved a Man? And Sharon Corr is seen playing violin with the same Brassers band that Bernie joins in the film's epilogue. John Hughes, the film's musical coordinator, actually became the band's manager for the Corrs after the film. The kid who appears outside Jimmy's window on a skateboard is Peter Rowan, the same boy from the covers of the U2 albums Boy and War. Soundtrack. As you can imagine, there was plenty of tracks to choose from when they were releasing the soundtrack for the movie. So much so that there was actually two separate soundtracks released. One in August of 1991 and the second on St. Patrick's Day, March 17, 1992. The first album features 14 songs, most of which appear in the movie. The album was a huge commercial success, reaching #1 in both Australia and New Zealand, and it stayed in the Billboard 200 for 76 weeks and was actually 5 times platinum. The second album wasn't as successful, but it's still certified gold. Although licensing costs for the film soundtrack cost a pretty penny, it wasn't as much as a line from one particular song. In the scene where Jimmy sings a line from the Beatles, "All you need is love," it ended up being the most expensive license for the film. Alan Parker was quoted saying it cost more than the license for all the other songs combined. Sequel and legacy. A sequel by Harvey Weinstein of all people was proposed for the film, which would have reunited the band in New York. There was even stories going around at one time that Jimmy would wake up and realise the whole events of the first film were nothing but a dream. There is a fan theory that the movie Once could be a spin-off from The Commitments. Glenn Hansard, who plays Outspanned Foster, plays an unnamed lead in the movie Once, and during his last scene in Commitments, he is seen busking on the streets of Dublin, and the opening scene of Once he is also seen busking. Now, as I said, it's just a theory, but the romantic side of me wants it to be true, and that somewhere within the shared universe, after the movie Once ends, he goes off and meets Jimmy Rabbit somewhere to tell him about the girl he just met. In 2011, most of the original cast embarked on a reunion tour around Ireland to celebrate the 20th anniversary, and the donations from every ticket sold were donated to the Irish Cancer Society. In 2013, after 20 years of pleading from fans, musicians and his family, Roddy Doyle finally allowed The Commitments to become a stage show. It played from 2013 to 2015 in London's West End at the Palace Theatre. Since then, there have been many other smaller musical theatre adaptations, and we are delighted to announce that the show will be coming back to Ireland. From February 7th till February 18th in Olympia Theatre in Dublin, there will be 11 shows in total, with matinees and evening shows on Saturdays, and we will definitely be attending one of these shows. Awards. In 2005, a poll conducted by Jemison ranked the movie as the greatest Irish movie of all time. The film won 4 BAFTAs, including Best Film, Best Direction, Best Editing, and Best Adapted Screenplay for the author himself, Roddy Doyle. It was also nominated for an Oscar for the film's editing, but eventually lost out to the movie JFK. The film runs for 118 minutes, and in that time the word fuck is used 116 times.
Fucking deadly.
Now, there's no question that this is one of the all-time go-to movies if you live in Ireland. It's full of humour, drama, great music, and I'll never get tired of watching it. It definitely is the best of the Barrystown trilogy, but The Snapper does come in a close second. And speaking of The Snapper, if you want me to do an episode on that, or any other movie that is based on a book, novel, or even actual events, please leave a comment below, and be sure to hit the like button. If you're listening on Spotify or you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. I've been your host, Booker G, and remember, if it's the midnight hour and you've been running all over town, come find me at the dark end of the street, and we can go to a destination anywhere too. I'll see you next time.
Jimmy, what does it mean? Oh, fuck if I know, Terry.